Yeah.
Their
I'm
rules.
just concerned Okay. Do the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can do a roll call, call a meeting to order, but do a roll call, please.
Sure. Trustee Colfax?
Here.
Trustee McMahon?
Here.
Trustee Lacewell?
Here.
President Bain?
Here.
Trustee G?
Here.
Trustee Wolford? Here. Trustee Pennell?
Here.
Tom Green?
Okay, we have a quorum. Before we go any further, we're going to kind of change the way we do roll calls, okay? Instead of having the same person start off the roll call each time, we're going to rotate so everybody gets a chance to be first. So when we did the attendance roll call, Elizabeth went first, so the next roll call we do, like for bills, then we're going to start with Kim, and then the next one would start with Melissa, and so on down the line, okay? I was told that that's the way most of the boards actually do it, so kind of like to be like they are, so we'll do it that way, okay? Next, can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll
This
make
is
a
the
motion.
agenda of the committee meeting on March 11th.
No. The
No,
agenda's for April 8th.
We're approving the agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry,
And
the agenda,
I'll
that's
make a
right.
motion to
Yep.
approve the agenda.
Okay, can I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Now, the minutes. The minutes, the committee meeting on March 11th. Can I have a motion to approve them?
I'll make a motion.
Can I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Next is public comments. Do we have any public comments? Okay. Next,
Approved bills?
huh?
Approved
Oh, I'm
bills?
sorry, I skipped that. Bills, you're right. Let's do the bills. Okay, we've got sewer testing for 146 and water testing for 75. Sewer testing for 118, water testing for 17. Half the testing contract 3958.33 and 3958.34. Visconti Computers 126. The 457 plan, 375. We have maintenance done on our blowers, 4881. Keystone Electric, 2955.25. Cohoy, this 45,115.51. This was the complete job for the well number 2 rehab. So that's all finished. And just to go along with that, we've taken one sample on it already. We're waiting the results, and we're gonna get the second sample, and then we can put in both wells back online.
That's great.
And as just a note, this $45,000 is coupled with the $18,000 in engineering, so it came to a total of $63,000, and we budgeted $100, so we did pretty good, okay? Gina Del Rose, 120, Fox Valley Fire and Safety, 616.80, Frontier, 421.81, and Frontier, 872.99, Ace Hardware, 2146, Ace Hardware, 26.99, Sickich Accounting, 2107.50, American Switzer Legal, 4302, Hawkins for Chemicals, 233.77, USA Blue Book, 443.57. The total is 70,892.32, of which 89,4210 comes out of the general fund, and 61,950.22 comes out of water and sewer. Any questions? Any comments? Now, can I have a roll call to approve? I'm sorry, can I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Can I have a roll call?
Sure. Trustee McMahon?
Aye.
Trustee Lacewell?
Aye.
President Bain?
Aye.
Trustee G?
Aye.
Trustee Wolford?
Aye.
Trustee Pennell?
Aye.
Trustee Colfax?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes, so we can pay the bills, okay? Next on the list is our budget ordinance. We're not voting on this tonight, but I already sent this to Brian at Sickich, and they gave it their stamp of approval. So if anybody, you've had a couple of days to look at it, does anybody have anything they would like to question, add, or subtract at this point?
Yeah, under Public Works, we need to add back in the medical.
All right.
I understand we have a Public Works employee currently who's not using it, but if something happens to him and we have to hire another Public Works employee, it is included with the wages and benefits that the village offers. So if we need to have somebody else come in and take his place sickness, injury, whatever,
Right.
they need to be able to be offered that.
All right, duty noted, I will do that, okay? Does anybody else have anything? Okay, so I'm gonna give you, you got 2 weeks to go over this, and I'll ask the same questions at the next meeting, and then we will vote to pass this, and then I will get it down to the county clerk, okay? All right, next on the list is, this new business, the mechanic shop. We've got the license in front of us, and Jesse's here. And I guess you putting the restaurant on one side and the mechanic shop on the other, and then
That's
something
correct.
else in the middle, right?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Yeah, and we know, all the work that you gotta do to get it done with the grease traps and
Right.
and the whole 9 yards, so, yeah, now we will vote on this in 2 weeks, okay?
Sounds good.
But, yeah, so everybody wanna look this over, everybody got any questions for him? Okay, all right, so we'll get this done in 2 weeks, okay?
I-
Thank you.
I wanted
Yeah.
to ask, I was just worried about people eating in the restaurant and hearing all the work going on in the mechanic shop.
It's going to be far
And
away.
the
It's
smells
not gonna
and
be right
everything.
next to each other. You got another space in between, plus all the cars gonna be parking the east side of the building, so it's not gonna be.
But there is always going to be a lot of noise, a lot of activity, and a
no.
lot of smells. It's a
No, no,
mechanic
no.
shop, so you've got everything
We
going
got
on.
everything going.
But you
We're
don't
gonna-
think it'll bother the people eating in the restaurant?
No, not at all. No. This is another side of the building, it's not gonna be any issues.
By the way, are you aware that he owns the restaurant too? Liz?
Oh, me? Yes.
Yeah. Are you aware
Yes.
he owns the restaurant too?
Yeah,
Okay, just wanna make sure you knew that, okay?
yeah, because that was the first thing that was going in was the restaurant.
Okay. All right, anybody else got anything? Okay, on to the next subject. Talked about a message board. And we talked about the quotes that we had were a little old, so I went and got a couple of more online here. The one I really like is the first one here. It's called a monument sign, for obvious reasons. It looks like one, okay? It is rather easy to install. I gave you all the installation instructions to go with this. Basically, you dig a hole in the ground, you pour a slab with some concrete, and you put the attachments in the concrete, and you bolt the thing down, and it's ready to go. It comes the way it looks, okay? We can get it in different colors. It actually comes, it's all LED, and it comes with 281 trillion with a T colors, yep.
My question is, would it be mounted perpendicular to 173 or parallel?
Well,
In other words,
it
one
depends on
side
what
or
you
both
want,
sides?
all right? The 9885 is a one
It's
side,
one-sided, yeah.
and the 12485 is a double side. I personally would like to do the double side and have it perpendicular to the road
And
instead
it would
of,
be just out over here.
and just out over here, all right? By Village Hall, all right? And my thought process on the subject is I know the Boy Scouts donated their time and energy and everything to put that sign together, but at night, it really doesn't stand out. It's limited to what we can do with it. It's not in the greatest shape anymore because it's been in the weather for so long. And if IDOT is gonna come through and redo all downtown with new sidewalks and lighting and roads and the whole 9 yards, I kinda like, we spent a lot of money on our underground, okay, with all our infrastructure and everything. And ultimate goal was to make Capron look like, we're keeping up with the times, and we want to invest in our community. And I think this would help do that. We could use it in conjunction with other organizations in town, because there's 8 lines of text on each side, and we could have it so that it flashes different messages, like, maybe there's a burn ban, or maybe there's a boil order, or maybe the Lions Club is having their fish boil, all kinds of things that we could do, and put out holiday messages and all that to make it stand out. I just think it would be something that would really go well to move the village forward and, put a little pride in the place. I think it
And
would help a
Public Works
lot.
would be the one that would be installing all of this, or would we have to hire somebody else?
No, it's just software that comes with it, you'll learn how to use it, it's not, it shouldn't be, it says it's easy to program, so.
But I'm not worried about the programming, I'm saying,
Installation.
are we
Just to
going?
wire it or something?
Like the electric and pouring the concrete, that's all gonna be done by our Public Works.
Well, no, we'll have to hire somebody.
So
I
we're
don't think
looking at
Public Works can
additional
do that.
costs on top
I'm
of.
figuring it's
this.
probably gonna cost about $3,000 to put a base in and get it all put together.
So then you're looking at 13,000.
Yeah, I'm looking at more like 15 or 16,000 total, yes.
Can we not go back through the other two companies that were quoted in 2022 and see if they can re-quote for cheaper with installation included?
smart.
Sure you can, but I don't know
Okay.
how successful you'll be at that.
I can
I mean,
see-
the other one that I've got behind it is a single-sided, all right, and it's $12,000.
But again, it would have to be additional.
But then we'd have to build the base, we'd have to build the whole, enclosure for it, whereas this comes with its own, so.
Well, I can contact the other two companies and
Okay.
see if they'll re-quote.
This is just the beginning of a conversation. I'm not expecting you to vote on this in 2 weeks, okay? I'm just giving you some examples of what I think we can do. And we can get it in green, so we have it in the right color, okay? Instead of the blue that's shown. Well, you guys have black and white, but I got it in blue, so. Yeah, so that's all I'm doing is giving you some examples to toss about, okay? Next, I want to talk about a certificate for clear water. And this goes in conjunction with what we were doing at the last meeting with the lagoon. Collins has been out here and they've been pumping, and they pumped about 52,000 gallons out of the lagoon. And now they've pumped and cleaned out the digesters, they've got that done, but we got all that rain on Wednesday, and it fills the lagoon back up. So what we're doing is we aren't going to have them pump that. We are treating it through the plant because we can, all right? And we're gonna get it down back as close to the level that it was before it rained so that Collins can continue pulling out, because I don't wanna pay 22 cents a gallon for all that stormwater.
No.
So in conjunction with that, it's a lot of stormwater, okay? I mean, to fill up that lagoon is a lot of water, and it's gotta be coming from someplace. And during the smoke test, we already identified 2 illegal connections to the sewer system with sump pumps, and I'm sure there's more of them out there. I'm really not interested in going door to door and insisting that we inspect everybody's house to see where their sump pump is hooked up, but other organizations, Tom has made me privy to this, that other towns have what they call a certificate for clear water, just like you would have a requirement for radon inspection before you can sell the house, that the building inspector would verify that there are no legal water connections on the property, then they clear it before, it's like a lien on the property, so that it could be cleared before the house could be sold. And by doing that, I know it takes a long time, but by doing that, we can eliminate these illegal sump pump connections over time. And doing that and replacing all the manhole covers and replacing and repairing all the manholes that we have to, we're gonna reduce the influx of that stormwater. The ultimate goal is to get rid of that lagoon and fill it in and be done with it. And we can't do that until we solve this problem, okay? So Tom's gonna bring an example, or he did you?
I think did I send you a clear water certificate? So in the district that is associated with Four Rivers, used to be Rock River Water Reclamation District, Rock River, and I have their ordinance, Rock River Water Reclamation District has an ordinance that requires all new home sales, not new homes, all home sales require a clear water certificate, which means they gotta have somebody come over and just make sure that their water is being properly disposed of. And that's just part of the process through, and it's now a standard provision within the Rockford Area Association of Realtors.
Yes.
That standard contract they use. It has
Yes.
a clear water certificate provision. So, and it wouldn't surprise me if that document is used in this area as well. So if we had an ordinance that an appropriate prohibited discharge ordinance, which required any homes, any building, anyone connected to the sewer sold their property, they'd have to get a clear water certificate. We could, over time, then confirm that everybody's got a clear water certificate. So, I've got a copy of their ordinance. I don't think I have it with me, but I have a copy of the clear water certificate you have to submit. We could try and impose something along those lines.
Okay.
It's up to you in the end, but we could try and do something like that.
Okay, all right, so something to think about. I don't want to push anybody into it, but the problem with this is when we get all that water coming through, it just wreaks havoc with that wastewater plant, with the hardware and the biologics and everything else. And it's got to be coming from somewhere because it's supposed to be a closed system. So, and it's gravity fed, it's not under pressure. So it's coming from someplace and we've got to figure out what it is. And this seems to me to be, it's a long term, but it is a solution to the problem. And I don't think it's that invasive, all right? I don't want to be invasive, okay? All right. Next, does anybody have any thoughts on that, by the way?
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah? Okay, all right.
I mean, all of Winnebago County, as long as you belong to Rock River, it is a requirement. It's only like $45-50, and it's just making sure that everything is, you know,
Yeah. I
hooked
think
up the way it
it's-
should
I think
be.
it's high time that
Yep.
we had something like that, okay? All right. Next, I want to talk about the solicitation permit. This is for the people that go door to door and ring their doorbell. First of all, I don't want to get rid of it and say we can't have any solicitation because I'm not sure that would be legal, okay? And second, I'd kind of like to know who is walking around town instead of not knowing who's walking around town. At least they come to the window and we know who they are. The problem is that the way the code is written, it says application for such license shall be made to the village clerk in writing, signed by the applicant, verified by oath or affidavit, whatever that is, to be read and approved by the village president and board of trustees, and shall contain the following information. First of all, if I had to wait for the board of trustees to approve a solicitation permit, it could take up to 2 weeks for that to happen. And I just think that's a bit burdensome on anybody that's trying to do business, okay? And it also requires citizenship of the applicant, his or her place of birth, and if a naturalized citizen, the time and place of naturalization, the character of business of the applicant, a statement whether the applicant has made similar application for similar licensed premises other than described in the application, blah, blah, blah. This is very, very cumbersome and very burdensome, and I'm not sure that we could even meet all these requirements, okay? So I talked to Tom about this, and he said other municipalities treat this a little bit differently, okay? Basically, the village clerk can vet them, and I can sign it, but we don't need to involve the board of trustees on every solicitation permit that comes through here. I just think that would be a bit much, and collecting all this personal information is also something that I don't know that's needed. I mean, obviously, the person who's gonna come here to get a solicitation permit is gonna have some documentation and identification from their employer, et cetera.
Yeah, so I just gave Crystal a copy of an ordinance from another community. I will say it's it's Manchester Park, it's 40,000 people. So it's like 4 pages, but it's I don't recommend you pass all 4 pages of, but you can cut and paste what you need. It's approved administratively. Approving it administratively is much more typical, so basically Crystal would approve it, or mayor's in the office quite often.
Every day.
Every day. So it would get approved in that way, and there would be a criteria and,
The other,
process.
yeah, the other thing is we can make it so that if somebody knocks on a door and did not get a permit to solicitation, and somehow they come in here for a building permit, we don't have to issue them a building permit. That'd be an illegal act, all right? So that we could somehow enforce this, okay? And we could make it clear in the ordinance that if somebody has no solicitors on their door, you don't go ring their doorbell. And if we get complaints about you, then we're not gonna give you any more permits, and we're not gonna honor your business in town. Either you follow the rules or you don't, and I think we can do that, correct?
Well, I will say this process probably loosens up solicitation. You'll have an ordinance, if they provide all the information, their driver's license, their background, whatever, I think there might be a provision in there, and you don't have to adopt all this if they have to be insured or bonded or whatever. If they have all of that, then they're gonna be able to go. You have used discretion to deny certain groups the right to go door to door. It wouldn't come to you, it'd just be a form. And if they met all the criteria, then they get to go out.
But you said it is illegal to say no solicitation in your village?
There is a concern about both the free speech concept, and it could subject you to attack. And I don't recommend that.
I wouldn't recommend that, no.
But what if, for instance, the one that we have sitting in front of us came in and filled out the application? He then kind of got belligerent with our clerk and still went door to door, even after the fact that she told him that it had to be brought before us. And
The enforcement would be difficult here because we do not have a police force. In some of the communities, they call the office and say, well, this guy doesn't have a tag, he doesn't have a permit, he's not wearing whatever he's supposed to be wearing. And they send the police out and they either roust him out or bring him in. They either chase him out of town or they bring him in and charge him. Or her, whoever, whatever. We don't have the ease of enforcement because we don't have a police force. You would have to, the mayor, or the president, I should say, or Crystal would have to go out and say, hey, you're not allowed to do that,
And I've done it, but I know, they leave my house and just keep on doing what they're gonna do. And I've told them, I said, you have to go to Village Hall and get a permit, that's the rules in this town, and I tell them who I am. And I know as soon as I close my door, they're just gonna keep on doing what they're doing, because they got dropped off by somebody, and that's what they do. But like I said, at least I'd like to know who it was, rather than not having any idea at all, and punitively, if what they're doing involves a building permit, we can refuse a building permit because they didn't follow the rules in the first place.
Well, can we have an ordinance or something that either they come in and do this, if they don't get their permit, we fine them?
Well, if you could
But
find them.
Right, but I'm just saying,
they're transient. So they come in and they come into town, they don't live here, and they leave often. Sometimes it might be locals, I don't know. But it's a difficult concept to really have teeth, because if somebody's dropping them, if somebody brings them into town, drops them off, and they want to sell you a new roof or siding or something, they make their rounds and then they're gone.
The bottom line to me is, we have to find a better way to legislate this, and we have to do it without involving the Board of Trustees, because I can't wait 2 weeks to do that. Every time somebody comes in here to do this, you can't tell them, well, I gotta wait 2 weeks for a board meeting. That's not,
That can't deter them.
then they're just gonna ignore the whole process anyhow and go do what they're gonna do.
my other question is, can we limit how many permits we give them? Because we had one company that I know came in
That was, yes.
and did 6
and-
permits in a 10-day period.
And that was Surf Internet, and the reason I did that is because we worked with them very closely, getting everything, all the underground work done in the village, so we knew who they were. We had a working relationship with them, so
But
I
at
gave them,
At the same token, they were stopping residents as they were walking.
well, that I
And when
did.
the residents
Yeah.
would say, we're not interested, they would continue.
Well,
Or
they-
if they went to the doors and residents said, we already have it, they still would continue.
I can't,
Yeah,
I mean,
and
I don't have
the
any answer.
solicitation part either.
And from the standpoint of, if they come in with a van of 10 people, you would have the right to say, no, we only allow 3 at a time. 3,
So you can put a limit.
I think you can. I think there's a reasonableness standard associated with
And I can say you can only do it.
10 in a
Yeah.
25,000
You can only do it for 3 consecutive days, you can only do it between the hours of X and Y,
How many homes do
you
you
know,
have?
450, something like that.
Which is equivalent to maybe 6,000 or 7,000 homes. And scaling that so that you're not inundating the community, I think would be a reasonable restriction on solicitation.
Yeah, I really don't have anything in here that disallows, like tells me how many applications I can give anybody. And as far as them being rude or belligerent, I mean, if we get feedback, then we won't give them any more, okay? But at the starting point, we need to have something a little better than this.
Otherwise, you
Okay?
could put a post on, if a person didn't want it, they could put a post that says no solicitation, then if they come, you can complain.
And that's part of the deal, if we get complaints that, well, you gave them a permit, and my door has a no solicitation sticker on it, and they still rang my doorbell,
Yeah,
and we get enough of that, then you're not getting any more permits to do it.
And this one also has within it a no-knock registry. So,
Yeah, so-
Citizens of the village can contact here and say, I want to be on the no-knock list, so that when someone comes to solicit, you can say, well, here's a list of,
Well, that's a
30
good idea.
30 properties that have
You know
said
for sure.
you can't go. So you can't go to those, you have to pass those by.
And then if we find out that they actually have,
Again, the
We can go at
enforcement
them.
is an issue, because if we have their driver's license, we know where they are, we can pursue enforcement, but, I mean,
We
how
can
much
set
does
up,
enforcement cost?
we can send a letter to their corporate offices, we can do things. Yes.
Is it possible, since they're soliciting on behalf of a business, to take punitive action against the business they're soliciting on behalf of?
I think if it persists, yes.
Yes, absolutely, and I don't think we have a bond in here. It'd be nice if we could say we gotta post $1,000 bond, and so if you violate any of these rules, then we just take your $1,000.
So, yeah.
Although I don't think that's actually in this law.
So what I'm gonna do, Tom's gonna give us a copy of that, right?
Yeah, I gave it to Chris
Right,
already.
so we'll get each one of you a copy of it, the whole thing, and then we can discuss, again, this is gonna, I don't wanna make
This
it
might be
a,
more than you want, because it's
Yeah.
like 5 pages of rules.
I don't wanna make this a short-term decision, because I wanna make this right, and get it right the first time if we can, okay? So, we'll talk about it again in 2 weeks, I'll get you all a copy of it, all right? Or Crystal will, all right? And, we'll do it then, okay? So, this is all I have for this meeting, does anybody else have anything? Trustee Lopez,
No.
trustee McMahon,
No.
trustee Lacewell,
Nope.
trustee AG, trustee Walfire,
no.
trustee Canal. Nothing? Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Can I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.